All right. We are back. Who's with us? Had a little bit of trouble going live. We got 2 people. All right, so Tristan, you in 6th grade again? Thank you for being here. You don't have to if you don't want to, but thank you for joining us. All right. No. What does no mean? Book assignments. I've got up there book assignments. Who's the other person that's with us? This is 6th grade, Tristan. So you don't actually need to be here if you choose not to. You can leave. 8th grade is at 10 o'clock. 7th grade is at 11 o'clock. And 6th grade is at 12 noon. Okay, so this should be stuff that we've already talked about. Okay. What's going to happen with 6th graders? Who's the other person on? Please say hi. Please introduce yourself. We are actually taking attendance in these. I am learning a lot here while we're doing this. All right. So anyways, 6th grade, so far your assignment has been, and these are only for people that come to school and pick one up, was actually doing a book report. We are going to, we kind of got left off in the middle of what we were talking about. We were talking about tides and we were talking about stars. Yeah, I know you were there. That's why I'm saying you don't have to stay if you don't want to. You met your obligation. For those of you who were wondering, this is the bowl that we have the celery in, just sitting in water, and all that new growth has come off of that. And so the water was up about that high, and it's absorbed at least a finger's width of water. And so we have to keep adding water to this. This is pretty cool. You can see where we've cut this and how all the stuff in the middle is actually new growth. The celery was all cut into pieces, and this has been sitting in water for a few days. So really cool. Your satellite clock is correct. It is 12:10. All right, so we are going to talk about a few things that we need to clean up with. First of all, we were working on, and most of you guys haven't seen you, but this will be recorded for, I know there's not many people here, but this will be recorded for people. We were talking about tides and how there's actually 2 sets of tides per day. And so you have a lot of vocabulary words associated with that. High tide, low tide. Obviously, the high tide happens when The moon is pulling on the earth like that, and low tide, we have spring tides and neap tides. You guys should know that. We've talked about that, and trying to look over some of my other stuff. Where, depending on where you are in the world, will depend on the difference in tides at any particular time. A lot of that depends on the actual earth and the actual terrain, how much variance we get, time of year. So there's a lot of difference in tides. It's funny, when you're on vacation at the beach, they actually have tide charts that you can read. So it's very important to understand the relationship between the sun, the earth, and the moon, and how gravity is acting on all of those. Sorry. Gravity is acting on all of those at once, and it can actually pull the ocean currents, the oceans, away from land, which just causes the tides. Imagine if you had, if my head was the earth and this was the moon and the sun was shining over here, all that water that's around it's pulling it in different directions. All right, who do we have here that's joined us? ZTMA, Christian. All right, glad you're here. If you stopped in, if you were able to stop in, or a family member was able to stop in on Monday, you were given a book with a report. And, oh, this is Hope. Okay, Hope, glad to see you. If you were able to stop in, you got a book report, and your assignment is to read that book, and you're basically going to make an outline about what the book says. You need to use Google Classroom. Hope, you're in 7th grade, so you missed your session. It was at 11. 11 o'clock is going to be the time for 7th graders, Tuesday and Thursday, for science. 8th graders at 10, 7th graders at 11, 6th graders at 12. And we're going to break it up in probably 20 to 30-minute sessions. So you're welcome to stay. This won't really pertain to what you're doing, but you're welcome to hang out with us and help us answer questions. I was hoping to have a little special guest today, and I'm going to text somebody really quick, and forgive me, but going to see if we can get a special guest for you guys today. All right, we'll see what happens with that. I don't have my login. What login do you need? And Mr. Fosnick can answer that question for you. All right, so all right. Let's see if we can get a special guest to show up here in a few minutes. It is springtime. Things are starting to grow. All right, Mr. Fosnight can make sure that you get whatever you need for Google Classroom, and there's documents there. I'm actually working on them right now, or was right before I streamed live. Forgive us for technical problems. We're still working through this. But anyways, with 6th graders, we've been talking about tides. We've been talking a lot about the solar system. And the amount of distance that there is. So the one thing that I'm going to talk about is some words that we didn't touch on when we were talking about the space units. We were trying to fill in some blanks here. What, with me being out with my leg, we missed a few things. One is something called luminosity. 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 Come on. All right, there it is. Okay, luminosity is really the basic brightness of a star, or how much light a star gives off, or scientifically we would use the word emits. Okay, and so stars emit light depending on what stage they're in and how big they are and what type of fuel they're burning. And that doesn't mean that every star is going to appear equally as bright, because the other thing is its distance. And so stars that are very far away might be brighter than a star that's close, but it's going to appear to be dimmer just because of its distance, and vice versa. Our closest star is not the brightest star in the sky, because there are some huge stars that are out there that are farther away, and just by their brightness and their size, they really can light up the sky. All right, so we measure stars in two ways. One is called apparent magnitude, okay, and that is, you might recognize the word apparent or appear. How does something appear to you? Well, how it's basically is, that's the definition. The apparent magnitude, excuse me, is the brightness of the star as we see it from Earth. The other one is absolute magnitude. Okay, and I'm going to type that in. Absolute magnitude is the true brightness of a star without accounting for that distance. So just like I said, a star could be really far away and be bright, and a star that's closer not be as bright, because they have a different absolute magnitude as well as an apparent magnitude. So those things fall into play, and so we have to compare them. We could have a star that's really close, that's not bright, and another one that's farther away. So it's important for us to know the distance that a star is, and we can measure distance by watching it move, by measuring, finding out what gases it's made of. Anyways, one of the ways we measure is something called a parsec. Okay, a parsec equals 3.26 light years. A light year is how far a light can actually travel in a year. All right, I think we got our special guest. We're going to take a little break. This ought to be fun. So things are fun at my household. We got stuff growing, and that includes animals. And who's this fellow? This is one of our new ducks. You're live. You're live in the studio. I don't think he likes me very much. I'm big and scary. Let's see if we can't calm him down. Now he's about 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
He's about 2 weeks old, believe it or not. And when we got him, he was only about this big. And no, that didn't hurt. That didn't hurt at all. All right. Do we know what kind of duck this one is? This is called a rowan duck. Boy, the 8th graders would love to see that. And he's just frightened of me. I wish I could show you his feet. I think I can. They're so cute. And are you gonna calm down? He's just scared. Yeah, he's loud, all right. Let's see if we can, no, you don't wanna. You're gonna hurt yourself. I'm gonna give him back. And that was our little surprise guest here today. We've got some of them under a heat lamp right now. They're only a couple weeks old and totally a lot of fun. And he's just scared because he's used to being with his friends. We'll raise them. We don't know yet if it's a boy or a girl. They got to get a little bit bigger before we can actually tell. And they lay eggs too. Yeah, so not only can we eat chicken eggs, we can eat duck eggs too. And so that may sound gross to you guys, but you know what? If we can't make it to the grocery store because of this coronavirus and what's going on, we can still have breakfast. We got fresh eggs. So I wanted to throw that out at you. All right, so we've been talking about stars. Excuse me. And apparent magnitude, absolute magnitude. Apparent magnitude is how it looks from Earth. Absolute magnitude is how bright the star actually is. And we measure the distance in parsecs. And there's a reason we do that, because a light year really is something that's immeasurable for us as humans. It takes us about 10,000, it would take us approximately about 10,000 years to get to the nearest star with the technology that we have today. And that is a little over 4 light years away is our nearest star. And so a parsec is kind of breaking, it's just a lot larger denomination instead of just using light years. So a parsec is 3.26 light years. And so when we start talking about star distances, sometimes we measure in light years and sometimes we measure in parsecs. Okay, and so you'll see that on some documents that you're going to be doing. Trying to think what else we didn't touch on. I know we talked about different types of stars, and that's fine. We got different types of stars that we've talked about. I will be loading up some assignments, so pay attention. Those of you who are in the 6th grade, make sure you're communicating with your friends. If you have friends in the 6th grade and you're in the 7th grade, communicate with them and let them know that 12 noon on Tuesdays and Thursdays is the science. We need to make sure we're getting the word out. I didn't expect to have too much that we got done this first week. We're organizing and we're planning and we're getting things set up and getting things loaded up into computers. I've lived in a paper world. Most of my documents and assignments are on paper, and I've had to load them up to get that. By the way, I want to thank my daughter for running the duck out to me, and so maybe I'll have him next week. One of them, maybe not that one. We have a couple. We have different ones. To see what the new ones are looking like. But it's a time of year when life is starting up all around us on trees and plants and stuff. So in your Google Classroom, there is a Quizlet or two there that I want you guys to go through. I will be loading if it's not already there, I'll be loading a Google Doc that you can type on, and you're going to choose 5 vocabulary words that you struggle with and type them out on the Google Doc and send it to me. You need to make sure you're entering the assignments to get credit for them. This is part of your grade. You are getting graded for the things that you're doing while we're in this situation. Hopefully we will be back soon. I miss being in the classroom and seeing you guys. And if you need to email me, if you have any questions, I'm going to put my email on here. Make sure I spelled it right. You can email me any questions that you have. Some of you have already gotten a few emails. That's fine. Go ahead and email me if you have any questions about your assignment, and I will help you any way we can. We'll get through this together. We are now at 12:27, getting towards the end of the stream. I apologize, I got started late. I was having some technical difficulties here. If anybody has any questions, let me know. And if not, we will be cutting out. So I don't see anything. We know what that means. That means we need to end with our song. And so I need to find it. Do we know what our classroom song is? All right. Let's see if we can get through the commercial here. No commercial. Say goodbye to Harold. Say goodbye to Harold. Bye, Harold. See you later, Tristan. Get your work done. Or I'm gonna call home. All right. Assignments will be done, will be due Monday night at midnight, because next week we'll start new materials. Bye-bye.